Hello, everyone, and welcome to this session on CUET, the Common University Entrance Test. Almost a week back, we were talking about CUCET, the Central University's Common Entrance Test, which has now become a CUET. The reason is very simple. The UGC expects state universities as well as private universities to come on board for this particular examination for admissions to their own programs as well. And that is why this new name has been given. So my name is Amitin Kumar, and I welcome you to this session. I'm sure each one of you are eagerly waiting for this. And today we have Mr. Gautam Puri, who is the Vice Chairman of Career Launcher and also one of the most sought after mentors. So GP, welcome to the session. And it's a wonderful opportunity to interact with the students. And as we can see, a lot of students actually logged in at 2:30, almost 2.5 hours ago, actually. So it's great to have all of you here. So let's go ahead and start the session without keeping you waiting any further. Now, we all know that the admissions landscape is completely going to change. Most of you would be aware about some of the aspects which NEP has brought in, the National Education Policy. And it is only on those lines today we are talking about a common entrance exam to begin with for all these central universities. And I'm sure in the coming years, a lot more universities will become part of this process. So you may not be surprised if tomorrow students from Maharashtra will find that Mumbai University has also become part of CUCT. But that's wait and watch. We'll see what exactly happens.
Yeah,
So
in
here,
fact, Amitin, if I can add here, the idea behind CUET or CUCT as it was called earlier was to create a common entrance test for central universities. But
yes,
already when I'm talking to private universities, many of them are expressing interest that they would want to join this particular initiative for the simple reason it makes their life easy also. So you
yes,
rightly said we should not be surprised in the next couple of years this become the go-to exam not only for the central universities but also state universities like IP University Delhi, Mumbai University, or Calcutta University, and also for all the private universities. In fact, I would expect the private universities to move faster than the state universities. State universities will have their own political considerations, they'll have their bureaucracy to deal with, while private universities will take a decision faster and move on with it. Because for them, it will mean they will be able to showcase themselves to a larger pool of students and hence attract a larger number of students to their institutes. Okay. Yes, back to you, Amitendra.
yeah, completely agree, GP, in fact. And that would be good for students across the country. So they would not be limited to only 45 universities. And there are a lot of students who look forward to universities and colleges which are near to their geography, to their residence. So before we go ahead, guys, just a quick agenda setup. So what we are going to do today, why this exam is happening. That is the first thing. Why you need an entrance test to select students. After all, जो merit का system था, that was already in place. Some of the universities were conducting the entrance. Why all of a sudden this requirement has come up? There was a set process almost for last 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, depending on the university. Why to tamper that? What is the advantage that an entrance gives? So we'll be talking about quickly, and then we'll look at the different aspects of CUET itself. So whatever is immersed till now, as to what this exam is all about, what is going to be the pattern, what exactly is the syllabus expected. More importantly, what is going to be the selection process? How are they going to select? Will there be a common process, or each of the universities will have their own process to admit the students? While they are definitely free for the eligibility, but what about selecting the students? And one of the most important points of discussion today is what happens to your results of boards. Should you be even worried about your class 12? Should you be focused about your class 12? Because if you look at the eligibility criteria which has emerged as of now, you don't even need 70%, 80%. For DU, it is just 40%. And I'm sure for most of the other universities, it would be merely a pass in class 12. But how does it make a difference? And more importantly, you need to understand why boards are still very much important. They have their own importance. why they are very much relevant. So let's go ahead and look at from the very first aspect, which is why this entrance is coming up. Why do we need an entrance? See, one of the most important aspects, one is choice, the other one is by force. So if I were to say by force, because NEP mandates a single selection process through an entrance exam, that is definitely one of the reasons. But more importantly, it is the entrance exam, the benefit with, more importantly, is it's a level playing field. Generally what happens, you appear for your board exams with 5 papers. On a given day, if you could not do well and you barely missed a 5 mark question, that brings down your percentage by 1 mark, and that can have a big impact, a big effect on your percentage, and hence your selection into the colleges. What if the cutoff is 98%, and because of that factor you secured only 97.5? A mere drop of zero point 0.5 or 1% because of one fine day which was not as per your plan is going to affect the entire college admission scenario. Why one day should be affecting my entire life? That's so entrances are a very level playing field, and it brings uniformity in the selection process because everybody has to undergo the same process. This is from a student perspective, but
In
understand
fact, Amit, and I'll just add here, purely from a student perspective, one of the things which impacts every student is the fact that different boards have different way of marking and they have different syllabi. So what happens that some boards which are very, very lenient, their students tend to get higher marks, and boards which are strict tend to get their students tend to get lower marks. And CBSE is actually somewhere in the middle. It is not a very strict board, it is not a very lenient board also, though I would say it is more towards the leniency side. So what happens is many of these seats are taken by students who belong to boards which are very lenient. So it does not provide that level playing field. I think the best thing about this process is that everyone will go through the same process. Everyone will have the same questions. Everyone will have the same paper, same marking scheme. Now you can compare. I've always wondered why the earlier system was called merit based. To me, it was not merit based. It was marks based. In fact, the merit was not being addressed. The issue of merit was not being addressed. How can you compare, let's say, 80% in a West Bengal board or a UP board with a 80% of, let's say, a Tamil Nadu board? So to me, this is the best thing from a student perspective. Now you can be sure that everyone is being provided the same paper, and hence it's a level playing field. Yes, back to you, Amitendra.
yeah. In fact, completely agree with you, GP. And there is another aspect I believe. This also gives an opportunity to the institutions because they are also able to understand to a larger extent the aptitude of the student, whether that student, whether the said student is fit for the program. May not be 100% perfect, but yes, to some extent, entrances give them a broader idea whether the student has the aptitude as well as the interest. So it's a win-win situation for everybody, and that is the reason why for most of the universities, colleges, if you look around, especially the private universities and colleges, they have always preferred to have an entrance in place. So having understood that, now this new phenomenon, which is CUET, while it is not completely new, it has been in place under CUCET banner, but for some lesser known universities, recently established central universities, but now it is going big scale, and all these central universities are now going to admit student based on CUET, the Common University Entrance Test. To give you a brief overview, what do you expect out of this? So this is going to be a computer based test. Normally we call it an online test. In general, when we are talking about, we say online, but it is a computer based test technically, and is scheduled to be conducted in the first week of July. So while the exact dates will come out very soon when the registration process starts on 2nd of April, hopefully by that time they will also give us the dates as to across which 5 days or 7 days the exam will be conducted. But 45 central universities which offer the undergraduate programs out of the 53, they will be now admitting students based on the scores of CUET. When we look at these 45 central universities, close to 1,80,000 seats are now available on a common platform. Earlier, you were looking at different universities appearing for different entrance examination, going through different process of selection. Now this becomes very simple. One single exam, 1.8 lakh seats to grab, and the exam can be taken in 13 languages. Each of the universities will ensure that there is no weightage, because that is a mandate which has come from UGC itself, which means even if you have just 45% marks, 50% marks, and in most of the universities, unless they come and define, you merely need to be a pass in class 12. So there won't be any requirement as such. More importantly, during the selection process, there is no weightage assigned, which means your performance in the examination will be the sole criteria of selection. Your scores in CUCET will be the only criteria for admissions to the central universities, including University of Delhi.
Right.
However, the universities which are participating over here, they will be free to decide their own eligibility, like what Delhi University has done. So each of the university will be defining what will be the eligibility for each of the programs, and will there be a common eligibility that, okay, while you may appear for CUET, but to be considered for my colleges, my university, you need to have a minimum certain percentage in class 12. While I am not going to give any weightage, but आपके पास इतना percent minimum होना चाहिए. And the registration will happen on this new portal, cuet.samarth.ac.in. So it's going to be a completely new portal. The registration starts on 2nd of April and it closes on 30th of April. So you get a window of 28 days exactly, and we'll be back on 2nd of April once again to help you complete the registration process, how to fill the form as well. GP, if you have any inputs over here.
Yeah. Couple of students are asking a question, so I thought, Amitin, I'm not able to click on the question to have it on the screen. If you could do that, okay, so or you could give me the rights for that also. But nevertheless, some students are asking this question: admission in DU will be purely based on passing the entrance exam. There's nothing called passing. Okay, it is not passing as such. Your scores. So effectively, what is happening, instead of your CBSE exam scores or the board exam scores, the NTA exam scores are going to be considered. So for all practical purpose, it is the NTA exam. These marks will be looked at. Okay, is it entrance? I would not call it an entrance. It is still your knowledge is being tested based on what you have studied. Based on that, it is being. And afterwards, the second part of the process is the same. The second part of the process is the same. You apply to each university separately and go on with it. Secondly, some questions are asking about the reservation, etc. Please remember, does not impact reservation, does not impact anything. The only change is, instead of your CBSE board exam marks, the only thing which is happening is NTA exam marks will be considered for admission, nothing else. Yes, Amit, back to you.
Yeah. So, just to add on over here, while this question is very, very relevant from a student perspective about reservation, you need to understand these are central universities. So, the reservation policy is what is available to all central universities, which means you will have EWS reservation carved out of the general category seats. You will have seats reserved for NCOBC category, the SC/ST category, and PWD candidates. So each of the universities have already defined the reservations, and that is something which is not going to change, as GP said. The only thing you need to understand is the only thing which changes is, instead of your CBSE, ICSE, state board class 12th marks, it is going to be the CUET marks, which is going to play, which is going to be relevant over here. And that's the only thing you should be worried about or even considering about. Now, talking about Delhi University. Now, Delhi University has always been a visionary. What I believe, I'm also a Delhi University alumnus, and I strongly feel Delhi University has always been ahead of its time. So, while we do understand that in the coming academic year itself, most likely Delhi University will also be migrating towards the optional fourth year degree courses. But please understand, they did that in 2013. And on the same note, Delhi University is the first university which has come out and stated that, okay, we are fixing certain minimum criteria which you need to have, which means you need to have a 40% marks in aggregate to be eligible to be considered for admission. So first you appear for CUET. Once you get your score, you can apply to Delhi University, but you can apply only if you have 40% in your class 12. I'm sure each one of you are laughing in the background. It won't make any of the difference, but that is a criteria they have set. They have come out, they have clearly stated that, okay, 40% तो चाहिए बॉस, 90 का टेंशन नहीं है, 50 का टेंशन नहीं है, बट 35 या 14 आप पास हो जाओगे, बट फिर हम कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे. So that is something which we are not going to do. No weightage for class 12. So that is a clarity which has come, which means your entire admissions depend on what you do in the CUET paper. One of the most important questions which generally comes, and we have been coming across this question, is what if I want to change my stream, because I have studied science till now, but my interest lies in commerce, or my interest lies in studying history. There was a reason I took science in my class 11th and 12th. See, the switching of streams is not getting affected at all. So you can switch your stream as like previous years, but please understand the eligibility conditions will remain. So for if you want to change a stream, you have to look at what is the eligibility criteria of that particular course in which you want to migrate. तो आप जो नया कोर्स देख रहे हो अंडरग्रेजुएट लेवल पे, उस कोर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है, कोई स्पेसिफिक कंडीशंस हैं, कोई स्पेसिफिक सब्जेक्ट चाहिए, अगर वो आपके पास है तो आप आराम से स्विच ओवर कर सकते हो. क्लियर कट एग्जांपल इज बीकॉम ऑनर्स. अगर आप कॉमर्स विद मैथ्स हो, इवन अदरवाइज आप ह्यूमैनिटीज विद मैथ्स हो, आपका स्ट्रीम जो ह्यूमैनिटीज था लेकिन आपने क्लास 12th में मैथ्स रखा हुआ था, you will be eligible for BCom honors, because the basic criteria to study BCom honors is to have mathematics in class 12. So each of the universities, you will have to look at the eligibility criteria, and if you fulfill that eligibility criteria, nobody will stop you from changing your stream. So ये tension खत्म हो जाएगा यहाँ पे. So switching of streams is something which is going to happen the way it has been actually. So that's not a concern, and I'll help you in due course of time to also understand through example how the selection is going to happen. Now, the most important aspect is how and when, forget about when, how the exam, exactly what are they going to test upon. हाउ कैसे होगा, एग्जैक्टली टाइम प्लान क्या है, कि 10 बजे शुरू होगा, 9 बजे शुरू होगा, दैट नोबडी नोस. दैट प्रोबब्ली विल गेट क्लियर वंस द रजिस्ट्रेशन स्टार्ट्स. बट देन देयर आर 3 सेक्शंस इन द पेपर, एंड दैट इज व्हाट हैज इमर्ज्ड. थोड़े बहुत चेंजेस इधर उधर होते हुए आ रहे हैं, बट आई थिंक टुडे yesterday NTA gave the notification on their website, and that gives almost a clear idea what to expect. Now, when I'm talking about these 3 sections, the first section is broadly divided into 2, A and B, and these are based on languages. So section 1A will have 13 languages, and these languages are which ones? जो अपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में scheduled languages के तौर पे जाने जाते हैं. So these are scheduled languages. So English, Hindi, Gujarati, and all of them. And so this is section 1A. Section 1B क्या है? Optional languages हैं. There are some foreign languages and there are some other Indian languages out there, so which includes Bodo, Kashmiri, Konkani, Maithili, Manipuri, some of the widely spoken languages. But these 19 languages, these are optional. If you want to appear for them in the examination, you are free to do so. But from the section 1A, you have to select a minimum of one language. आपको एक language तो choose करना ही पड़ेगा. So English, Hindi, whichever you are comfortable with, you'll have to select that one. The most important aspect here is to understand section B, which is the subjects, the domain test we are talking about. Now, when I'm saying domain subject B1 and B2, this is what Delhi University has spoken about. NTA does not clarify or categorizes them as B1 or B2. For them, it is 27 subjects. But what DU has clarified is we'll categorize these subjects into domain subjects B1 and additional subjects B2. Now, your domain subjects B1, I am sure you understand, these are the core papers which you study in your class 12, depending on your stream. So these are the core papers. And these are some of the papers like physical education, engineering graphics, or performing arts, entrepreneurship, which most of the people take as additional subjects. for different reasons. Most importantly, it is about improving their scores or the comfort zone. So this will be considered as well, depending on the course, how they can be mapped. And the last section is going to be general aptitude. Now, general aptitude here will comprise of numerical ability, logical and analytical reasoning, quantitative reasoning. The level of which they have defined is something about grade 8. So, 8th standard, I'm sure that is not going to be a problem for any one of you. So, basic mathematics, I think if you understand how to calculate, how to approximate, that is something which is going to take care of this particular part. And then you will have questions based on general knowledge and current affairs. So, this is how the three sections are defined, and the entire paper will be a combination from these three sections only. Any
Amit,
specific inputs, GP?
I just want to highlight one aspect about the section C, the general aptitude. Now, if you look at any of the entrance exams, whether you look at BBA, BFIA, BBE, and IP University, Christ University, MBA entrance exams like CAT, other, everyone says the same thing. That our aptitude section, our entrance exam is general aptitude. By and large, we check only the basics of maths and English and reasoning. That is what everyone says. And theoretically, everyone says that it's a 8, 9, 10 standard level. But please remember, while it is 8, 9, 10 standard level, it is a slightly difficult paper for the simple reason it is not a memory based paper, it is not a formula oriented paper. These papers are actually testing what most of the time you people have not studied in school. Secondly, these papers of general aptitude like section test, section C, are the ones which are effectively trying to check your application orientation. So the way you deal with an MCQ is very, very different from the way you deal with your school exam papers. So this is, while on the face of it looks easy, my suggestion for all of you would be just make sure you are thorough with these aspects. Those of you who have appeared for NTSC exams will probably understand this part better. Those of you who have not, let me assure you that it is going to be a little challenging for many of you. So please don't take it lightly.
Yeah, and anyways, it is going to be the first time. So I think one should not be taking any chances at all. That is very, very important. Okay. Now, just to give you a little bit more clarity, so what is expected out of each of these sections when you are appearing for the examination? So from section A, 1A, which comprises of 13 languages, the core languages, you can select any one of that. So it could be English, it could be Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, whichever language you want to pick up, you can select one of those 13 languages, and whatever language you select, each of the paper will have 50 questions. So English, if you select English, that will have 50. If you select Hindi, that will have 50. You are required to attempt only 40 out of those 50 questions. You are not required to attempt all 50. Only 40 will be considered for evaluation. And the time limit for this section, which is based on language, is going to be 45 minutes. And it is definitely on the expected lines. So whatever language you pick up, you will be tested on reading comprehension aspect, literary aptitude, and vocabulary. So just like when we talk about verbal ability to a larger extent. Now, from section 1B, which are the core languages, you can pick up, from the language options, which is those 19 languages, this is optional. You can pick any other language apart from those offered in section 1A. Matlab, you can pick Chinese, German, French, Spanish, Russian, or maybe the Manipuri, Santali, Mathili. So it depends which one you are comfortable with. And the number of questions will remain the same. Your attempt will remain the same. You can attempt a maximum of 40 questions out of 50. And even for this, you'll get 45 minutes. Now, when it comes to subject, the domain subjects, there are total of 27. You can pick a maximum of 6. Understand this. You can pick a maximum of 6. They are not defining a minimum, but that is also clear once we understand how to pick up those. But then please understand, you can maximum pick 6 subjects. But this is what? This is based on the eligibility conditions of the universities. अब क्या चेंज हो सकता है यहाँ पे? दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में अगर आप एडमिशंस की बात कर रहे हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल, दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी इज सेइंग कि इफ यू आर माइग्रेटिंग फ्रॉम साइंस टू कॉमर्स, you still have to appear for the paper, and this is what also UGC and NTA is saying. You don't need to appear and you first learn and appear with that paper. So अगर आप commerce जा रहे हो तो you're not we are not expecting you to learn accounts and business studies, but it may happen that BHU might ask you, because this is what they have been doing for years. So earlier, when a science student was shifting to BHU BCom honors program, they had to write an entrance which had questions from accounts, business studies, economics. So they are very clear. NTA and UGC are very clear. Please look at the eligibility criteria, and the notification which they have released yesterday clearly mentions that the universities will coming out with their eligibility criteria on their respective portals. One should definitely have a look at them, and based on that you will select which of these 6 domain subjects you are going to pick up. But each domain subject will again have 50 questions. You can attempt maximum of 40, and each of the domain subjects will be given 45 minutes sectional time limit. So that is which is important. Now, section 3, which is going to be GAT, the JAT, section 3. Now, this is where clarity is still a little bit clarity is awaited, but जो यूनिवर्सिटी जिस प्रोग्राम के लिए डिजायर करेंगे जनरल एबिलिटी टेस्ट, वहां पे आपके लिए ये मैंडेटरी होगा. सो इट मे आल्सो हैपन दैट सम ऑफ द यूनिवर्सिटीज विल आल्सो वांट यू, apart from subject knowledge test, to also appear for general ability test. And for most of the courses that might be demanded, it might be demanded when you are switching between the streams, migrating between the courses. And secondly, for the professional programs, BMS, BFIA, BBE, mass communication, the vocational courses, even the law program at BHU may come under GAT only. The selection would be based on general ability test, because that is what they have been doing for years. For GAT, there will be a total of 75 questions, 60 minutes allotted to complete the paper with 60 questions. You can appear, you can take maximum of 60, attempt maximum of 60 questions. So this is what is going to be the exam structure in a way, or what is expected out of that. The combinations, the slots will become clearer as they start with the registration process. So this is what is currently known and what is expected. The exam will be happening in 2 slots. If you pick up additional 4 subjects, you will be also giving the exam in the afternoon slot. One question I came across today in one of the sessions was, अगर एग्जाम 5 दिन में होगा तो क्या मैं एक दिन एक स्लॉट पिक कर सकता हूं, दूसरे दिन दूसरा स्लॉट पिक कर सकता हूं? नहीं. आपका दोनों स्लॉट, अगर आपने एडिशनल डोमेन सब्जेक्ट्स पिकअप किए हैं तो आपके जो स्लॉट होगा वो मॉर्निंग आफ्टरनून सेम डे होगा, अलग अलग दिन पे एग्जाम नहीं होगा. दैट इज नाउ हाउ इट, नॉट हाउ इट इज डन. ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं है. सो आपको एग्जाम एक ही दिन नहीं, आपके पास ये चॉइस नहीं होगा कि मैं 10 जुलाई को स्लॉट 1 अपियर कर लेता हूं और फिर देख लेता हूं बाकी लोगों को, और 15 जुलाई को मैं जाकर के स्लॉट 2 अपियर करता हूं. तो ऐसा सिचुएशन नहीं होगा. Just to give you an understanding, what is DU expecting you to do? Let's say you are a science student and you want to study English honors. अभी तक आपका इंटरेस्ट PCM था, but you have realized that I want to learn language, I want to go and study English honors in Delhi University. By the way, this is the most sought after program of Delhi University with limited take of 2,900 seats, but till now maximum applications have been for English honors only. Now, if you want to take up English honors in Delhi University, the mandatory structure would be you will have to select English from the 13 languages. You can't be selecting any other language. अगर आपको English honors पढ़ना है तो आप उन 13 languages section 1 से 1A से आप सिर्फ English पिकअप करेंगे. You can pick up 2 subjects from B1, the core subject. आप साइंस पिक करेंगे. अगर ये कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट की हम बात करते हैं, इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ कॉमर्स स्टूडेंट, दैट स्टूडेंट विल पिक अप इंग्लिश along with 2 subjects from commerce area, because the NTA has also clarified, the UGC chairman has also clarified कि the students are expected to take the paper on the through of the subjects which they have studied in class 12 and जिसके बेसिस पे वो अपना बोर्ड एग्जाम लिख रहे हैं. सो इसके बियॉन्ड आपको नहीं जाना है. And the third subject can be picked up from core or the additional papers, which is in the category B2. So three domain subjects. This is what DU expects. मतलब मिनिमम तीन मैक्सिमम छह जाएगा बाकी यूनिवर्सिटीज के लिए. DU के लिए थ्री डोमेन सब्जेक्ट्स होने चाहिए. Two from B1, one from B2 can be a possibility, or even from B1. But this is so. अगर कोई हिंदी ऑनर्स करना चाहेगा तो क्या होगा? वो इंग्लिश की जगह हिंदी पिकअप करेगा. What about migrating to BCom honors? I am a science student. I want to now take a BCom honors. In this scenario, you will be picking up a language. आप language pick करोगे. यहाँ पे you will have the option. You can pick up Hindi, you can pick up English, but DU would definitely expect you in English. More clarity will emerge. Then two subjects from B1, जिसमें एक subject तो maths होगा. मतलब option आपके पास सिर्फ एक ही subject का है. Because maths is an important criteria, eligibility criteria for selection into BCom honors at Delhi University. बहुत सारे ऐसे यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं जहां पे मैथ्स की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, बट डीयू इज वेरी स्पेसिफिक. यू नीड टू हैव मैथ्स. आपके पास अप्लाइड मैथ्स हो, कोर मैथ्स हो, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, बट यू विल हैव टू गिव मैथ्स पेपर अलोंग विथ वन मोर पेपर. एंड देन थर्ड पेपर कुड बी आइदर फ्रॉम B1 और B2. सो कॉम्बिनेशन क्या बन सकते हैं? इफ यू आर अ PCMB स्टूडेंट and you now want to study BCom honors, your first paper is going to be English, which is language. The second is going to be maths. And now you can make a combination of P and C or P and B. That is how it is going to be Delhi University process. Other
Yeah,
universities, specific
Amitendra, one small thing. Uh, Language English may not be compulsory
for
because
BCom honors.
that is not for BCom honors. For English honor, obviously, language English has to be compulsory. But for BCom honors, the language could be English or Hindi or one of the other languages which has been given, one of those 13 languages which has been mentioned.
Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, so I think GP, we should definitely pick up this question. This is very much relevant as to what we are talking about, and this is about the student is asking, I want to do psychology honors. Is it necessary to take three domains? Yes. If you look at what DU is saying, this is
Amitan, can
what.
you click the question and bring it on screen? Thank you. Hmm. Okay. Yeah, you can answer the question.
So yes, Avneet, please understand what I was talking about just right now. If you see on the screen, so even if you're taking up psychology honors, whatever stream you combination of subjects you had in class 12, you will be picking up one language, and then the next three has to be your domain. So कौन सा डोमेन सब्जेक्ट होगा? वो तीन सब्जेक्ट्स आपके उन बाकी चार सब्जेक्ट्स में से पिक करोगे जो आपने क्लास 12 में पढ़ा है, व्हाट यू हैव स्टडीड इन क्लास 12. So it is not required that you have to pick up psychology only, but yes, three domain subjects will be there out of the 27, and the clarity is always there कि आप वही सब्जेक्ट्स पिक करोगे जो आपने क्लास 12 में पढ़ा है. So you are not picking up anything else. So three domain subjects will be there. Okay. Just give me a moment.
See, one of the things I think that needs to be specified, all NTA has said is you can take maximum of 6 domain specific subjects. It is from section 2, you can take maximum of 6 papers. It is not saying you have to take minimum numbers. Minimum effectively is something which will come out from the university requirements.
Yeah.
Okay?
And that is the reason, GP, very important for every student to check the eligibility criteria for each of the universities. So whatever you are targeting, and I'm sure each one should target at least the top 3-4 universities.
So one of the things which I want all students, just to add to what Amit and you're saying, is many students will think that, okay, now my task becomes easier. No, your task does not become easier because the competition has increased. While your board has been removed and there's an NTA paper which you need to look at, but please look at it this way. Earlier, who would apply to Delhi University? If you are a general category candidate, less than 90%, you are unlikely to apply. Now, everyone will apply. So last year, Delhi University has, if I remember correctly, Amit, around 3 lakh applications, little more than 3 lakh applications. Right?
2.87 lakhs.
Yeah. Banaras Hindu University, BHU, which is a part of NT, which is a central government university and will be part of CUET, last year had 5,14,000 applications. All those 5,14,000 who are preparing for the BCom and other entrance exams of BHU will be now eligible for DU also. So your competition base will go up, and which is why it is important that you Don't take any chances here.
Okay, so is there a minimum requirement of domain subject by DU? No. The only aggregate requirement is 40% in class 12. Quite a frequent question is coming up, talk about BTech. Please understand, BTech will not fall under CUET domain. All the admissions to BTech courses across all the universities happens through JEE, Joint Entrance Examination, which is again conducted by NTA only. बट अगर आप इंजीनियरिंग की सोच रहे हो, बीटेक बीई की बात कर रहे हो, you have to appear for JEE, not CUET. All the universities, irrespective, but they all consider only this JEE scores for admission to the BTech program. Now, this is where a lot of confusion has suddenly emerged that how the selections will happen to the different universities. There are 45 universities. Will there be a common process? No. The only process which is common is the exam. Beyond that, you will have to apply separately to each of the colleges. So the process is going to be like this. First, you register for CUET starting 2nd of April till 30th of April. You need to be really careful about picking up the domains which you are selecting to appear for in the examination. That should completely depend on which all universities you are targeting and what are the eligibility criteria, because once you have submitted the form, you can't make any changes. Please understand that. So please be careful, read the eligibility criteria on the respective university websites, make a combination. If required, you have to add any additional domain subject and make it a 4 or a 5 or a 6 kind of combination. Iske baad, you will have to appear for the CUET examination in July. The dates are likely to be in first week. The exact dates have not been given, but the exam is likely to be held over a period of 5 to 7 days. It will all depend on the total number of applications they receive. So once you appear for CUET, what NTA will do is NTA will give you a score. They are not giving you any percentile. They are not giving you any rank. So forget about any rank being given over here. All you will get is a score. And now the final process begins. Once you have received your score, you will be applying to each of these central universities which is on your top of the mind. So you may apply to all 45, you may apply to 40, you may apply to 30, you may apply to only 5, or you may choose to only apply to University of Delhi or University BHU or JMI, whichever you want to. But then the process is going to be very simple. Register, appear for exam. Once you get the score, apply separately to each of the university. So there is no centralized counseling happening, no centralized counseling portal, just like it happens in JEE. वो process follow नहीं होगा. आपको खुद से अलग अलग यूनिवर्सिटीज को अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. बीसीए विदाउट मैथ्स नहीं होता है. बीसीए के लिए वैसे भी मैथ्स रिक्वायर्ड है. कुछ छोटे मोटे यूनिवर्सिटी, स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटीज अलाउ करते हैं. Most of the central universities which offer BCA courses, they want you to have maths in class 12. Now, one of the most important aspects which either people are talking about or they are not talking about at all. Now, when the university itself is saying all we need is 40% marks in class 12, should you be even worried about your class 12th results? Should you be even worried about scoring a 90%, 95%, or 99%? If yes, why? And if no, again, the question is why? Why you should not be worried? Does this exam mean that you should only focus on CUCET, forget about your school studies, forget about your board curriculum, 40% भी आ जाएगा तो खुश रहना है? Lot of people, lot of so-called experts are talking about the same. They are undermining class 12 boards. Students, you only need to focus on CUET. Why you should be even worried about scoring 95, 99, 90% or even 80%? Because none of the universities are going to ask such high marks for admissions to the UG program. But guys, you need to understand, as a student, your journey will not stop at the undergraduate level. You'll definitely be looking at different competitive examination. You will have some career aspirations. You will be definitely looking at going for higher studies, post graduation programs, going for studying abroad. So there are a lot of things you should be doing after you complete your graduation. Nobody stops at graduation अनलेस सरकारी जॉब लग जाता है. सरकारी जॉब लग गया ग्रेजुएशन के बाद तो डिफरेंट स्टोरी होगी. बैंक में चले गए, रेलवेज में चले गए. बट इफ यू वांट टू स्टडी फर्दर, if you want to go abroad for your higher studies, and the lot of professional programs like MBA, they have certain requirements of marks, and they need you to score well even in class 10th and 12th. If you
And
don't
Amit,
understand the importance of
yeah,
this,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry,
GP.
sorry, Amit, then, since you're talking about this part, I thought I'll just pitch in. One of the thing which you need to remember as a general category candidate, if you are less than 90% in your 10th or 12th, then you will not be able to get admission to MBA program of I am Ahmedabad, I am Bangalore, I am Calcutta, I am Lucknow. So the top institutes will be completely outside you if you are less than 90%. So if anyone is telling you that you need not worry about your board exams, I'm assuring you you will be doing the biggest mistake of your life by not focusing on boards. There are two things which I want you to understand very clearly. Not only MBA, most of the higher education professional courses will look at your past academic record. Why do they look at your past academic records? To see whether you are actually willing to put in effort when required or not. Do you know something? Because in your 12th, if you have not studied, how can I be sure when you join my professional course you will study? Similarly, many of you might have an ambition of going abroad for masters or for post graduation or for PhD. The first thing they will look at is your 10th and 12th marks. Similarly, when you start applying for jobs, not for a call center kind of job, when you apply for jobs which requires certain amount of responsibility, they will look at your marks of 10th, 12th. Please remember, marks of 10th, 12th, and graduation will go with you to your grave. You will be, no one will bother about other things. But 10th, 12th, and graduation marks are always asked by everyone whenever you are looking at a change of job or anything. And if your resume shows 1263%, I can assure you many people will reject you there itself and you will not get opportunities either for further studies or for job. So please don't compromise on this area at all. Your 12th marks are as important as your NTA or your CUET marks. Yes, Amitendra.
Yeah. In fact, GP, this I believe this is a flaw in our education system itself. While IIMs are looking, the top IIMs themselves are looking for a good score in class 10th as well as 12th, and they are giving weightage to that. I think it's time either IIMs come to the school and talk about that, or the school teachers should definitely talk about this. I'm not
Amitendra, I
sure
have
how
one
many
more
class
thing.
10th students even know this.
Amitendra, I have another issue. Let me say I am a student of humanities. I have to take the psychology NTA. Okay. Now, please tell me, can I do well in psychology NTA without doing well in board exam? After all, the syllabus is the same. You will be tested as the same questions. So, if you are going to get a 65% in the NTA paper of psychology, I can assure you are not going to get, if you're going to get 65% in your board exam of psychology, I can assure you even your NTA paper, you'll get a 65-70%. The paper is not any different. On the contrary, you will find MCQs are difficult to score for the simple reason in a subjective paper like your CBSE exam, you can write a story and if there are five, you'll get 2 marks, 1 mark, 3 marks, something you will get. In a MCQ, either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. It's a 0-1, it's a black and white, there are no shades of gray. So please remember, your performance of NTA will be directly correlated to your performance in boards. I don't think we will have a situation. There can always be exceptions. But by and large, anyone not doing well in boards is not likely to do well in NTA paper also, in CUET also. So please don't compromise. Your boards are extremely important. If you want a good score in CUET, make sure you have a good score in your board exams.
I think this answers a lot of questions which I can see on the screen. A lot of students, in fact, have been discussing this about that. What would be the level? The level they have clearly told is NCRT class 12. So that is going to be the base level, and that will also ensure uniformity across all the different boards. So आपको टेंशन नहीं लेना है 11th का, जो आएगा वो क्लास 12th का आएगा, और इसलिए बोर्ड्स अगर अच्छे से कर लिया तो यहाँ पे आपके chances बढ़ेंगे, and that is what GP was talking about.
And
So
I
thank
mean,
you.
एक और चीज है, I would say CBSE students have an advantage because CBSE is and NTA are together by and large, and secondly, CBSE schools follow NCRT और सब कुछ आपका NCRT से आना है. So you just be very clear, focus on your boards. ICSE or state boards might have a small disadvantage because what NCRT covers, they may or may not be covering in their syllabus
Yeah.
because different boards have different syllabus. So from as a CBSE student, you have a distinct advantage. Make that advantage count.
Okay, so
BCom
here's a
and
question. CA can be done together without attendance issues. नहीं,
no,
attendance issues के बिना तो नहीं हो पाएगा, but attendance issues तो रहेगा. और
नहीं,
अगर
उसमें
top
there's
university
one
की
more
बात
thing.
करोगे तो
Nitin,
रहेगा.
there's one more thing. You cannot do it together for the simple reason CA articleship is a full-time job.
Yeah.
If you are 9 to 5 doing your articleship, how will you attend college? So you cannot do that. CA, the institute does not allow you to do both of them together until unless you happen to be from Bombay University or Calcutta University, where your classes will be over by 10 in the morning. And but they'll need a confirmation from your college and from your employer who's giving you articleship. Only then they will allow you. The default is you cannot do CA along with your graduation. The articleship definitely.
Okay, I'm sure this question would be in relation to IIM's thing which we're talking about. Sir, what about those students who have not appeared in class 10 because of COVID? Will
No,
that
but
marks be
the board
considered?
has given you marks, na?
Given you marks, yeah.
Whatever marks board has given, those are your marks.
Okay, negative marking. Yes, CUET will have negative marking. It is not clear yet whether it is going to be 1/4, 1/3. So ये होगा कि +3 -1 होगा या +4 -1 होगा. But negative marking तो होगा. That is clear. The paper will definitely have negative marking. I think one of the common questions which is coming over here is like how to take admissions or well DUJAT. So I'll first take the DUJAT thing. A lot of students have this query: will DUJAT take place? No. And I have been telling this for some time now. It doesn't even make sense to have a DUJAT examination because, see, one of the objectives of NEP is to have a single common window for admissions. That window is an entrance examination. If I make you write DUJAT along with CUET for different courses, that does not serve well. That does not serve the purpose. So what will happen is you will be appearing for CUET with aptitude. That is the most likely thing which is going to happen. और यही होगा. एप्टीट्यूड तो ड्यू जैट के लिए जो प्रेप कर रहे थे वही चीज रहेगा. मैथ्स का लेवल शायद चेंज होकर के बेसिक हो जाएगा. सो ड्यू जैट अलग से तो नहीं होने वाला है. दैट इज ऑलमोस्ट क्लियर.
Amitin, in which case it is quite possible. DU will say if you want to apply for DU or CBA College of Business Studies, you will have to take mathematics as one of the subjects, domain
Yes.
subjects.
Yeah.
That criteria they are likely to put because the level of difficulty of the general aptitude is likely to be slightly lower than that of DUJAT. Okay, and that also means all those students who are preparing for CLAT, for IPM have a distinct advantage over others. Why? Because section 1, the English paper, and section 3, the general aptitude test, they are already getting covered by for the students when they are preparing for IPM, CLAT, or other BBA entrance exams, and so on and so forth.
If I want to go for abroad studies after UG, would they consider 3-year degree? First of all, most of the universities abroad do not consider that way. They look at 10 plus 2 plus 4. But I think NEP has come to your rescue. You don't need to worry about, and I'm sure I'm addressing a student who is seeking admission this year. And most likely, 99.9%, I'm confident at this point of time, Delhi University is set to become the first university to adopt the 4-year graduation program. It is not going to be mandatory. Fourth year will be optional. You can go for a 4-year degree program, which will be equivalent to a master's degree, and that will help you studying abroad because then it will become 10 plus 2 plus 4. So you can definitely pick up that, and that would be also considered equivalent to master's, which means आपको MA, MCom, MSc courses में admission लेने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी, and you also become eligible for PhD courses, the doctorate courses. So I think this is where NEP has come out good, and DU is set to be set to become the first university to go ahead and start that 4-year curriculum, which is going to be optional.
And one more thing, when you talk about 3-year degree, there's a issues with the country. US wants a 4-year graduation. Europe, Australia do not want a 4-year graduation. So this is a function of which country you are planning to go abroad for.
Maths necessary for BBA. Delhi University BMS, which is BBA program, yes, maths has always been necessary, तो वो रहेगा. बाकी जगहों पे required नहीं है, तो कोई टेंशन नहीं है. So, but for Delhi University, it will be required, definitely required. So, criteria remains the same. Can we give CUET multiple times? Yes, you can, but why do you want to even write it multiple times? पहली बार लिखो, सिलेक्शन हो जाए, चले जाओ यूनिवर्सिटी में. Why do you even worried about that? See, if you have ever attended any of my sessions on similar note, I'm sure you would remember one thing I always tell the students: you can't lose the battle without fighting it. और ये तो वॉर होने जा रहा है, बैटल छोड़ दो, ये तो वॉर होने जा रहा है, तो इसको तुम बिना लड़े हार नहीं सकते हो. I don't think you should be even thinking negatively. Good enough time is there. You have a lot of time before your board's examination. Thankfully, there is a gap of 7-8 days among two papers for every stream. That time can be well utilized. You'll get 20-25 days after your board examination. So I don't think you even should be thinking about writing it multiple times. But this also reminds me of the fact that while for 2022 students, the people who are supposed to take admission in 2022, the exam is going to happen once. But for those who are in class 11th right now and moving to class 12th, it is most likely that CUET 2023 will be conducted twice. Maybe once before the term 2 boards, somewhere around January, February, and one after the term 2 boards. So it is very high chance that next year onwards, which already they have spoken about earlier, the CUET will be conducted twice, which means you will have an opportunity to improve upon as well. Is this for regular college or for both SOL and regular? CUET is only for regular college admissions. SOL will not go for CUET, School of Open Learning, because the objective of School of Open Learning is to help students continue with their education. So that is why IGNU will also not be coming. While it's a central university, IGNU will not be part of CUET, because the objective of IGNU, objective of the SOL, School of Open Learning departments in each of the university, is to ensure that for any reason a student should not drop out of the education. They must be able to complete the education. तो correspondence courses के admissions जैसे होते थे वैसे ही होंगे. They will continue to be happening that ways only, direct admissions, but this is only for the regular courses in regular colleges. डिटेल सिलेबस आ गया क्या सीबीएसई का? आई एम नॉट श्योर वेदर यू आर आस्किंग फ्रॉम बोर्ड पर्सपेक्टिव और फ्रॉम दिस पर्सपेक्टिव. आई एम श्योर डिटेल सिलेबस सीबीएसई का टर्म 2 के लिए आ चुका है. सैंपल पेपर भी आ चुके हैं. 2 घंटे का पेपर होगा. आई एम श्योर यू आर अवेयर ऑफ दैट. सो प्लीज वर्क ऑन दैट. But if you are asking from a CUET perspective, they have clearly told that the level is going to be NCRT. तो मेरी बात मानो, डाउनलोड दी एनसीईआरटी बुक्स फ्रॉम द वेबसाइट ऑफ एनसीईआरटी. पीडीएफ अवेलेबल है और उसको रेफर करो एंड दैट वुड बी रियली रियली हेल्पफुल. Physics necessary for agriculture? No. For agriculture, for agriculture, the entrance requires you to have physics, chemistry, biology. It's very similar to your medicine kind of requirement. So physics, chemistry, biology, the agriculture entrances are based on that only, actually. Yeah, we have taken up this. Anything specific which we have over here? If we choose 3 subjects, do we have to give one in 2 slot exam? While if you choose 3 subjects, it is very likely that you might be taking up the 3rd subject in the 2nd slot or even in the 1st slot. I think this is something which is yet to be clarified. So in case the requirement for some of the courses does not include GAT, the general ability test, that can be compensated with the 3rd subject at that point of time, and I think that is what they might be doing. If not, then the 3rd subject will be picked up in the 2nd slot. As of now, that seems to be the biggest possibility. So 2 subjects in the 1st slot and 3rd subject, 4th subject, or 5th or 6th subject in the 2nd slot.
I mean, then there's one interesting question
Yeah.
uh, from a student. Um, where was it? Okay, it
Okay.
was about a career launcher student, the career launcher LSC student. Will we be providing them CUET papers?
Yes, we will be. Just wait. We'll be making that announcement.
In fact, I'll probably steal the Amit in the thunder, but all students who are enrolled with career launcher or with LSG for any program, whether it is whether it is BBA, IPM, law, or for engineering, you will be getting the papers for CUET, the aptitude portion definitely. The subject ones we will work out separately, but the aptitude portion, the general ability test, is something that you will be given without any charges.
Can I do BCom honors if I have applied maths in 12th? Yes, you can do BCom honors if even if you have applied maths in 12th. You will not be eligible as of now for the BA honors economics program, while UGC mandates that, but DU unfortunately has not selected that as one of the criteria. So if you have applied maths, you are eligible for BCom honors, not for BA economics honors. For other universities, that would not be a problem itself. Okay, I think this definitely needs to be picked up. Please, courses of BCom for 4 years. No, integrated courses of 4 years are not there. Please understand this. वो जमाना चला गया या कुछ प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज ने किया था. They started with the 4 year integrated programs which UGC scrapped duly, and they told in very strict terms not to run those programs. The integrated courses are available in some of the central universities. The two of them being University of Hyderabad. They have integrated courses with very limited intake across each of them. So even for sciences, commerce, and humanities, 20 each is what they select. A total of 20 courses are available. And there is a wonderful university in Northeast, which is very research focused university. It's Tezpur University. Tezpur University also has 5 year integrated program. Unlike University of Hyderabad, Tezpur University gives you an option to exit after 3 years. University of Hyderabad does not give you that option, but they are 5 year integrated programs. 4 years not there and should not be even picked up. How? Okay, so I think this is a good question, GP. If you'd like to, how can we prepare for NCRT books in such a short time if we are studying from state boards?
See, uh, even if you're studying from state board, the syllabus is going to be significantly overlapping. So what you need to do is look at the 12th class syllabus for CBSE. I'm sure you'll have friends who will be in CBSE. Compare your syllabus. You will find probably 80 to 90% syllabus will be common. There might be a couple of chapters which you may not have, a couple of chapters or topics which may not be covered by your state board but are there in CBSE. So that is the incremental thing you need to do. Now the issue with you would be how much time do you have for CUET? So far, what we know is that CUET is going to be scheduled on in first week of July. The first Sunday of July is 3rd July. The next Sunday is 10th July. So the paper could be either on 3rd or 10th of July. I'm assuming a Sunday, or it could be for multiple days between 3rd and 10th July. So that's the way you need to look at it. If you're a humanities student, your last exam will be psychology on 15th of June. So you'll have maybe just about 15 to 20 days, roughly 2 weeks of preparation. So you need to start preparing now and continue with your preparation along with your board exam, because between board exams you have gaps which you can use. Similarly, if you are a science student with maths, your last paper will be on 7th May, which is mathematics, and then you have about a month. So the right approach for you is to look at your date sheet. You have your date sheet. Today you're on 27th March. Let's say from 20th March till 30th of June, you work out your schedule. Okay, these are the days which I have exam. All of us know you will not study if there's a 10-day gap between two of your board exam. You're not going to study for that board exam 10 days continuously. So you need to make sure that you allocate certain days for board exam and certain days for the NTA CUET. And CUET, you'll have to look at all three sections parallelly. The good thing is, because of your board exam, the section 2 the domain subject part is significantly getting covered. The other two is what you need to start with immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, Mitendra.
Yeah. So will it be difficult for ISC students to prepare for CUET? No. Why it should be? See, that is the reason why they are saying now ki the base of the syllabus, the level is NCRT. So that is why they are doing so. So there are 26 state boards, ICSC is there, CBSC is there, and they want that uniformity so that there's no change in difficulty level. That is why they have kept the base as NCRT. So you won't have any difficulty appearing for CUET or preparing for CUET for that matter. So don't even worry about that actually. Okay, I think this is one. Most of the questions are getting repetitive. Thus, do you allow to take major and minor subjects? Yes, DU will allow. In fact, what will happen this time is DU is most likely once they adopt all the policy recommendations of NEP and once they move towards the fourth year graduation, the other significant change which is going to come up from this year as far as DU is concerned is right in the beginning, you will have to inform them which is the major or minor you are selecting. So when the admissions will start, the form will also ask you for that actually. So this is a change which is coming up from this year itself. They are moving to credit based system with certain value addition, skill enhancement courses coming up. So that is already on the public domain. And once it is finalized, you'll get to know, and we'll also do a session for that. But yes, DU allows you to pick that. How the results will be calculated? The results will be calculated based on what you have done in the paper. You will get an absolute score. They are not giving percentage, they are not giving percentile, they are not ranking any student. It's merely conduct of the examination. So NTA is only going to conduct the exam. You will get a score. Once you get a score, you apply to the universities. The universities will decide the cutoff for each of the programs and colleges based on the number of applications received. That's how it is going to be. No sectional cutoff. Once single score, no sectional cutoff. For agriculture, bio is a specific requirement. Please check that. With PCM, you cannot apply. Biology is definitely required. I don't have maths in class 12th. Interesting. Can I still select maths as a domain subject in CUCET? I'll take it from a different perspective. And I believe if somebody is not having maths in class 12, the reason would have been the fear of that subject. Probably that could be the only reason you may have left that. But coming back, if you don't have maths in class 12th, you cannot select. As of now, what they are saying is you will be appearing for the examination and you'll be selecting the domain subjects which you have studied in your class 12th and appeared for the board examination with those papers. So if you don't have maths in class 12th, which means you are not giving maths as a subject in your class 12 board, then you cannot take that as part of your CUCET domain subject. This is what they have stated, that you can only pick up those subjects which you have studied in your class 12th. That's what it is. Okay, I think mostly it is repetitive. GP, any final inputs from you?
Just one last reminder, more than anything else, please don't ignore your boards. I think that is where I want the students to be clear about. Two things you need to do. Make sure you study well for your boards and get at least a 90%, because 90% is a criteria which is going to haunt you for the rest of your life whenever you apply for further studies or you apply for job in prestigious organizations. Second thing is, please start preparing for the CUETs from now itself. Don't wait for your board exams to be over. You will not have time. And from now till CUET, you have the complete April, complete May, complete June. In these 90 days, your board exam will be, let's say, 5 papers. Each of those 5 papers, even if you study for, let's say, 10 days fully, you're talking about 50 days. You still have another 40 days with you. In these 40 days, you can definitely do a lot. And my suggestion would be, rather than allocating complete days, your board exam is on, let's say, 7th of May. fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh can be dedicated to that particular board exam. But on all the other days, make sure you put in 2 to 3 hours of CUET and the balance amount to your boards. So please work out a schedule for yourself. Start with CUET immediately. Don't ignore your boards. Make sure you have a 90% in boards. This is what I would want you to focus on. Don't delay your preparation for CUET at all.
Yeah. Thank you so much, GP. And I think I'm sure each of the student parents who are attending the session today would have taken your advice very seriously, and they would ensure the kids and more importantly, the students themselves would ensure that they utilize the next 45, 50 days, whatever they have, and more importantly, the gaps during the board examination that needs to be utilized well. So with that, we come to an end of this session, and we'll be coming back very soon. And more importantly, once the registration starts on 2nd of April, we'll back same evening with the registration process, and we'll help you understand how to fill up the application form. I'm sure there would be a lot of confusions emerging up on that day as well. So we'll be back once again on this platform. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. And also press the bell icon. You'll get the updates quickly whenever we are coming up live or whenever we are posting a new content. Thank you so much, and wishing every student all the best for their board examinations.
All the best.